Okay, so let's get into this. The first thing that you want to learn whenever you're kind of like first starting out and figuring out the basics of how to draw is how to draw like simple shapes, right? So like I have drawn out some shapes here, and I'm gonna draw out some more for you guys so you guys can follow along on the video, and I'm gonna give you guys some explanations on like how to draw these shapes so you can practice. But drawing shapes is like the core like thing that you build everything else off of, all right? Because like you break down everything through shapes. So like once you learn how to draw, the main shapes that you need to learn how to draw are a box and a cylinder, and well, with the cylinder kind of like a circle. Those are like the main shape. And then you got like sometimes you'll use like triangles, cones, pyramids, stuff like that. And you can even draw some more nuanced shapes like hexagons and stuff like that whenever you feel comfortable getting there. You know what I'm saying? But like learning how to draw a box properly with perspective and a cylinder properly with perspective, and then once you learn how to do that, you can go in and you can warp the shape like I did with this one here for you guys for an example. So I guess that it's easiest to start off with the most basic of shapes that you're gonna use would be probably the circle. A circle slash sphere, whatever you want to call it. Whenever you're just sketching out, it's pretty much this circle and a sphere are pretty much the same. The only thing that really differentiates the two is like shading, right? I mean, you could go in here and like define it by like being like, oh, you know, this goes here and it like goes back like that. You know what I'm saying? But like that's, you don't need to do all that. You know what I'm saying? But drawing a circle is pretty easy. So we'll get this going. Okay, right. So I'm gonna zoom in about right there. So drawing a circle, I'm gonna switch over to a gray color here for you guys. Drawing a circle is pretty easy. So what you don't want to do, you don't want to try to make a circle one brush stroke. You know, you're not gonna be able to do it unless you're like a fucking master, mega talented, like fucking pick up a pencil and go. That's not how drawing a circle works. Okay, so you want to just practice. You want to go in like short strokes. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Like how I made that short stroke like that, right? And you want to build it up around building up that form, right? See, I can do this pretty easily because, you know, I've been doing it for so long. Looks something like this, but you can refine it, spend more time on it, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, just for the building blocks of building up your shape and building up the form of your body and stuff like that, learn how to draw a circle at least like this, right? It's gonna take a lot of practice, and it's gonna be more than you think. Everybody picks up at different paces. Some people just can draw a circle like this, some people can't. You just gotta learn how to do it if you can't do it, right? But you just focus on trying the best you can to draw circles, right? Just by sketching them out, right? I'm gonna try to make this look like more like how mine did whenever I first started. You might have to use a lot more of those small strokes than I did in that first example, right? Because you're just trying to get the general form. It don't have to be perfect, okay? Everybody wants to get into art and then have just like the most perfect masterpieces first time through. Not how it works. You have to practice. You have to put effort in, right? But this is just like the basic building block. So like I would literally spend, if you can't do this, I would just sit here drawing pages and pages of circles until you can draw a circle pretty easily. You know what I'm saying? You really want to be able to draw circles. Like circles are the base of cylinders. Circles are the base of your head. The circles are really important. Being able to draw a nice circle, right? And then we'll go on to the next shape. We'll go on to cylinders, because cylinders kind of build off of circles. Let me get this here, right? Okay, so for cylinders, you want to draw a circle, but you want to kind of like squish it, right? You want to squish the circle, kind of like this. And it's like, it's like a bean, I guess. It's like a oval, like a bean, okay? So like now I have this oval bean, right? And you know what I'm going to do with this oval bean? I drew this on its own layer. This is a good way to like learn how to draw like perfect ovals. I'm gonna duplicate the layer, and I'm gonna move it over to like right there. I'm gonna try to keep it as level as possible, right? And then now that I have my two beans, oh man, I'd be like, I could make it stare into your soul, like, oh my god. But once you have your like two beans, just connect them, and then go in. And then you can go in and erase like the inside parts of the bean, right? You can do that on either side, don't matter. Boom, you have a cylinder. Easy as that. And you want to eventually be able to be able to do that without having to like duplicate your layers. So you want to, once you feel comfortable enough being able to do it that way, you can draw your half circles, draw your lines, and then boom, you have a cylinder, right? It's It's that easy. It's that easy. Cylinders are pretty easy. Now I'm going to move on to cubes, right? Cubes, I'm going pretty fast here just because this is like the bare bones basics. I want to get this out of the way like as quick as possible. And like, because if you can't draw these shapes, you're not going to be able to follow along. But I feel like most people probably know how to do this, at least to the basic ends of it, right? And we're going to take that, we're going to take that same concept that we just took with, like duplicating the shape, and we're going to draw a cube doing the same way. So we're going to draw a square. Well, I'm going to do more of a diamond shape because I want it to be at an angle. We're going to draw a square, right? And then we're going to, actually, I am going to erase this real quick because I didn't make it on a new layer, right? I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to redraw, and you see how I'm going really quick here. Like, they don't have to be perfect, right? Then boom, I got my little my little diamond slash square, right? And then I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to move it up to I don't really know exactly like how you would measure, like how far up you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be an absolutely perfect square. But I'm going to go about like right here. And then same idea, you just connect your lines. You just connect your lines, right? Boom. Oh, fuck that one up. Just connect your lines like that. And then you can go in here and you can delete, erase these lines here because you won't see those. Boom. Look at that. We got a cube. It's a nice cube. It's a nice cube. Ooh, lovely cube. Right? Then I'm gonna draw a longer cube now, but I'm not gonna do the duplication method this time. I'm going to do it just like from practice, right? I'm gonna draw my square, and then I'm gonna draw my lines. And then I know just from practice, that one of the lines, I kind of like understand where it needs to be. And you want to make those ones pretty level. And then you just connect your lines. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Boom, we got like a tall block. Then I'll do another one, just to show you guys, right? Just wanna draw a box, then draw your lines. This one isn't gonna be as good as the other one, but it's still alright. Just wanna meet them like that. See, that one's not as good. That one doesn't look quite as well because I didn't take as much time on it. But it's good enough. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have to be perfect. And then once you learn how to draw your basic shapes like that, here, I'll draw one more cylinder for you guys while we're talking. But once you learn how to draw your basic shapes like that, you can start to manipulate the shapes in certain ways, right? You can take the shapes that you have practiced so hard to learn how to draw, and you can manipulate them. Come on. And then you can manipulate them, right? But here's another cylinder for you guys. Boom. There we go. More of an angle on that one. And then we're going to go into like this shape here. This is a cylinder that I kind of like squeeze, right? And then you don't have to... These ones, objects like this are harder to draw, obviously because it's like more shape, but they're harder to draw from memory, if that makes sense. So doing the duplication method that I showed you guys earlier is a really fantastic way to draw shapes like this. So I'm going to try the best I can to replicate this shape here, okay? And I'll recreate the color dotted lines and stuff on it too. So I'm gonna add a new layer, and I'm gonna draw like a blob shape, like a kind of like a blob shape like that. Oh shit, like a blob shape like that, right? Okay, it's pretty close. I think that's pretty close. Zoom in here for you. And then once you got your blob shape, we're just gonna duplicate that layer. We're gonna move it back like right there, and then we're just gonna connect our lines, just like before. We're just gonna connect our lines. Connect this one here. Connect this one here. Just top and bottom, and then now. Like right here, this one's gonna be a little difficult. All right, you gotta kind of use your brain hole. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of use your brain hole to like determine where these would meet. Like this one would connect to there. You know what I'm saying? And then this kind of has form in the center, right? Like that. You get what I'm saying? That would like have form there, but I'm not gonna draw those out like that. Here, I'm gonna define these lines out a little bit more. But you see this second line, like this line here, right? We are going to actually erase that line, all the bits of it that are inside of the other shape. And we're just gonna leave this part here in there. We're just gonna leave that part. And then I am also, I'm going to add a new layer on top of this just so I have it perfectly lined for you guys. And then I change my color to blue. And we're going to dot around this just so we know where the form's at. And I'm gonna re-follow that line with some blue dots, right? And then I'm gonna go back down. I'm gonna lower the opacity on that and then go back back down and delete this here. And then boom, you know what I'm saying? You kind of have, that's the blue dots aren't there. The blue dots are like what's behind the object. It's a part of the object that you can't see, but I still want it like visualized on the canvas to show you guys how the shape would be done. Like this shape here is technically done. If you wanted to, you could like define it out. Oh, gotta change my color back. If you wanted to, you could define it out a little bit like this by giving it like some ridge, or you could do it with shading. It just depends on what you're comfortable with and what you need to do to learn. And then to kind of understand, this isn't really necessary. This is more just to understand like the shape, right? I'm going to trace over this outer line, right? With this pink color, and I'm gonna move it. I'm gonna like try the best I can to cut this into like 4 sections. And then now that you have that cut into 4 sections, I'm actually gonna merge these layers down, and I have them all in one layer. I'm gonna lighten the opacity up. I have the it kind of like you can kind of see the form in the shape better now. Does that make sense? So like this could be a tail. This could be, you could add to this. You could add shapes on top of this, and you could turn it into whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Here, I'll turn it into like meat or something. I don't know. And I'll draw a bone. Okay, so I'll draw my 2 cylinders and I'll connect them, and then that would go out like right there. And then I'll erase this stuff on the inside. I don't know what layer this is. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. And then boom, we got like meat. I don't know. We have mystery meat. Yeah, but you get the idea. You get the idea. You know what I'm saying? Oh, mystery meat. It looks so delicious, so yummy. As long as it's not lamb, that's all that matters, right? But that's how you like work with your basic forms. Oh, and I'll go over like pyramids and cones really quick, right? You don't use pyramids and cones very often. This shape here, or maybe you could even do it with like these shapes, depending on the angle. You do kind of use those shapes for hands, depending on how you want to structure your hands. So I'll go over those real quick. Go over some of those. Do a little quick tutorial. A cone like this one here. A cone like that. Those are easy. Those are literally just you just draw like an oval. Oh, that's too big. Too big. You just draw an oval, and then like we'll go down the center here just like for visualization, and then you connect it. And this is really rough, right? I'm going really quickly because I'm not really trying to touch on this too much because these aren't really super necessary. But boom, you got a cone, right? And then for a pyramids are easy too. Pyramids are pretty easy, right? So just draw your square, right? And then you just draw you make a house, and then you connect the tip of the house to the corners here, right? And then you can erase these lines on the inside. And then you can work on perspective. I would also 100% recommending watching as much videos and as much information as you can. I'm just giving like a really basic crash course on the basics right here, right? And literally just do this over and over and over. You want to like slam out shapes, be able to draw shapes perfectly as much as you can, right? You want to be able to like you want to kind of start with the circle. I think the circle is like the best starting point, because once you draw a circle, you can move into cylinders, and then you can move on to more complex geometrical shapes that have corners, kind of like cubes. You could go into the cones and pyramids, and then you can start working on manipulating those objects. The only one that I really ever have to manipulate very often is the cylinder. I'm not manipulating pyramids or cubes very often, at least for the body, but you are manipulating cylinders pretty often. And then I'll do one more cylinder for you guys down here, right? A very common cylinder that you see when you're drawing animes. We'll do the top cylinder up here. We'll do the top little one, right? And then you'll have a smaller one on the bottom, right? So say like this is like the thigh, right? Just connect those like that, and it's kind of like you could say it's like a traffic cone that has a top cut off, whatever, something like that. But it's kind of has like a perspective to it, but it's not really perspective, it's just size difference. But you also use that kind of trick for perspective, and there's a different kinds of ways you can do perspective. You know what I'm saying? There's different ways, but we're not really going to work on perspective right now. We're going to work on the best we can just to get our basic shapes down. And I know that this sounds boring, but if you take the however couple hours it takes you to learn how to draw these shapes, you are not going to regret it. It'll make your drawing life learning so much faster and so much easier. And not everybody is great at visualization. Like me personally, I'm not very good at like visualizing things in my mind. I really have to like draw it out and block it out first for me to be able to see my vision, right? So learning how to do this, if you're that type of person, this is all the more important. But I hope this helped for learning how to get started on art and giving you a starting point. Bye bye.